Hey, y'all. I got the sun in my eyes here. I'm gonna try to find. I'm on my wife's laptop. I'm on my phone. This is my phone here, and I got my wife's laptop here. Let me see if I can find this live show, and so I can see the chat. Hmm. I don't know. I couldn't do this last time either. Well, I can't find it, and I just can barely see the chat. Let me see if I can move this a little closer. Oh well. Here we are. I'm, I'm gonna have to find this. Uh, Well, I fell off a ladder today. Not far, only a couple of feet, but that's all it took for me to blow a disc out. And this is not the first time this has happened. Hey, Big Bear. Oh, Big Bear. What? I'm giving up. I, am gonna have to find this on my. The phone is too far away for me to see the chat. I think that was. I don't think that was Big Bear. Let me see if I can find this. Why can't I find the chat? Ah, there we go. Give me 2 seconds. I'll have the comments up here and I'll be able to read them. Okay, there we go. Finally. Matthew Chandler. Hey, Partisan. Fred Ward. E. Spears. Eugene. Let me turn the volume off of here so. Okay, we got it now. Hey, Palmetto. Well, about 6 months ago, we had a hell of a windstorm come through here, and it blew this giant limb halfway down out of the tree right in front of my house, and it's real next to the driveway. And I've worried about it ever since. So today, I've gotten caught up on a few other things, and I got my big chainsaw and the ladder, and this limb was in such a position that I had to be really, really careful about how I cut it because it could have swung back and knocked me off the ladder if I wasn't careful. So I went to cutting, and I've cut enough trees and limbs to know when they're about to go. So I cut it right to the point where it started crackling and started moving and started going over. So I hurried down the ladder. Well, apparently I missed a rung and I fell. And in the midst of falling, I had that running chainsaw with the chain still going around. So I gave the chainsaw a good pitch away from me where I knew it wouldn't land on me or I wouldn't land on it. And I knew the second I hit the ground, I knew I screwed up. I hit butt first. Very large target, by the way. And I felt the pop. And I rolled around on the ground for a little while. And I made it back to my hands and knees. And I got up. And the thing is, the limb had not fallen down. Now it was in even a worse position than it was if I had just left it alone. So by that time, my wife had come out and heard me cussing. And sure enough, I'd blown a disc out. So I came in, I took 3 ibuprofen and a hydrocodone. Now, I'm prescribed one a day, but I actually rarely take one. They're really strong and they mess me up. So if I'm acting a little goofy, it's because I'm kind of drugged up. Well, I took three ibuprofen and a Norco, and I waited about a half an hour because I had to get this limb on the ground. So after half an hour, the pain had gone down enough where I was able to get back up the ladder and drop that limb on the ground because it was hanging over my driveway. And I have dogs. You know, I don't want my dogs to go out and get onto the limb and suddenly the limb falls, or drive under it, so suddenly the limb falls. So I got it on the ground, came in the house, and I went right to the shower because I was fixing to go to the hospital. Bad connection. What? Hmm. Let me look at the. I'm gonna look at the chat here, see if y'all can hear me. Well, I got a thing that said bad connection, but I'm just gonna continue like you can see me. Well, my my wife and I talked a little bit, and I live in Podunk, and the nearest hospital they don't have any means of doing back surgery, and they have an MRI machine, but uh, if you don't know this, I'm a girthy fella, and I can't fit in that MRI machine. And the only open air MRI is way over in Shreveport, and there's just no way I could have bounced around in the pickup truck with my wife driving, because that's what they would have done first before they do anything. So anyway, here I am sitting in my chair. If I sit still exactly like this, there's no pain. But if I move around, reach for my water, get up and pee, my God, the pain. And I've been through this so many times in my life. Hey, Subtac, good to see you, man. Uh, a good chiropractors. There's not much they can do for a ruptured disc, and I've had this happen before, and it's taken as little as 8 or 10 days, and as long as 6 months. So that's the story, and I don't know if I should bore you with the whole backstory because this has troubled me my entire life. I've had back trouble, and I actually come from it must be genetic because my little brother has had back surgery. My older brother has had back trouble. So oh, and my grandfather had back trouble. Hey there. Hey, Curious Yella. Well, anyway, I worked for my dad when I was a kid. My dad had a welding shop, and we made wood burning stoves. And my job, I was about 13 years old. You sure it's what? Oh yeah, it's definitely blown out. This has happened to me before, and I know this. I know the feeling. Uh, my job when I was a kid working for my dad was to lift these wood burning stoves up onto a hook and paint them, and then when they dried, take them off the hook, carry them over, and stack them up. So I noticed at the age of 13 that I had some real issues with my back, but I thought everybody did. I thought everybody's back hurt like that. So all my life as a teenager, my back hurt. And then I joined the army at 17 years old. Excuse me. And I just barely squeaked through boot camp. I almost didn't make it through boot camp because of my back. There was lots and lots of people in basic training that dropped out and they let them go, you know. And I sort of had nowhere else to go, so it was boot camp or homelessness. So I made it through boot camp, but just by the skin of my teeth. And all through the army, my back killed me. And of course, when I come out, what do I do for a job? Truck driver. The worst job you could do for a back trouble. So here I am, 30 something years later, still having back trouble. And this time I'm absolutely going to do something about it. Now they've advanced enough where, it's like outpatient surgery, Oh, crap. So if I cuss, I'm sorry. When this pain hits, you can't control the cuss words. Well, anyway, if it's kind of dark in here and the sun is shining in the sunroom, but it's about to go down. So if it gets dark in here, the best I can do is turn the TV on and let the light from the TV shine on me. Well, anyway, how is everybody? Glad you showed up. Let me see. Yeah, boy, the chat's really slow here. I can't even see how many people are in here. Well, anyway, hope everybody's doing okay. Oh, 44. It says 44 up there. I guess that's the amount of people in here. Yeah, thanks, we. Valium, huh? And the thing is, I really don't like, I've come 180 degrees. When I was a young man, there wasn't a drug I wouldn't do. And now I don't like even taking an aspirin if I don't have to. So, here I am. I got nothing else but to do but chat. And, now this is the worst time that's going to happen because my wife just had surgery and she's not doing well at all. She's in a lot of pain herself. So, we're just going to have to take care of each other till we both get better. Well, in the meantime, I've got yards that I can't mow. There's this lady right out in front of me here. Not right in front of me, but I can look at her house. It's this lady that's had severe medical problems. She just had a pancreas and kidneys replaced. So I mow her yard for her, and I don't charge her. And she's offers me money all the time, but she's broke, and I don't want to take any money from her. So I can see her car, and whenever she leaves, I run over there and mow her yard for her, just so there's not that awkward. Let me pay you. No, I don't want any money. I just want to mow her yard for her, and be done with it, and not have to turn down money and not have the awkwardness of her offering me money. So until I get better, I won't be able to do that. My next door neighbor, the 85-year-old lady next door, I mow her yard. I just started mowing another yard for money right down the street from me. I won't be able to do that. I had mowed it the first time the other day. Who knows? Maybe a few days it'll go away. But from my experience, the number of times this has happened, it can take as long as 6 months to get over this, as few as 7 or 8 days, and I hate not doing this. But this is, I love this kind of weather. This is when I get out and repair a fence, cut trees, fix my yard up. Last year, this time, I rebuilt my shed. I don't know if y'all remember that video. Let me look at the chat here. Well, I don't know about where I would get Valium. Hey, Dina, good to see you. Okie dokie, good to see you, man. I know I'm missing people up here, but my wife's laptop doesn't exactly work well, so I can't go back and look at the. And I do see some chat, but it's a little too far away for me to read. Yeah, it'll get better. I know it'll get. I know. See, just moving like that. Wow, electricity. Well, anyway, I had big plans. Uh, this tree is laying in my front yard here, but thankfully it's not quite covering up my whole driveway. Hey, E Spears, how are you? It's not quite covering up my driveway. We can get around it. Shetland Islands, huh? I don't know where the Shetland Islands here. I'll have to look that up. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate the well wishes. Shetland Islands. Yeah, unless it's in the U.S. where I've driven a truck. I can't pinpoint it, so I have to look it up. Just north of. Oh, Scotland. Okay. Well, good to see you. 1:30 in the morning, UK. Alrighty. Yeah, oh yeah, I've been kind of looking forward to this here. I really don't have anything important to say. I just thought we'd have a chat. Dogs are okay. All the dogs are good. Uh, my wife had her gallbladder out, and she exchanged one pain for another, basically. And I'm not that old, man. I'm falling apart. I mean, I'll be 57 in a few days. From Oregon. Well, I'm in Louisiana, by the way, in case y'all don't know that. I'm in northwest Louisiana. I'm in a little town called Sibley, Sibley. And I don't care who knows that. I have so much information out there that if you wanted to, a little bit of sleuthing, and you could find my number, my number and my address. So, oh, thanks, man. Can't believe I wasn't subscribed. Oh, uh, well, hey, let's talk about immigration. That's been on my mind a lot. Only because I know. Hey, Jim, how are you, brother? Hello to Ted too. Ted and Toby. Only because I know some illegals and how it would affect them if they were to get sent back. And I know a couple of illegals uh, through a restaurant my wife and I used to go to, and since she doesn't have a gallbladder anymore, and we haven't gone to eat Mexican food in a while, but they're just great people. I mean, they're exactly the kind of people you want coming to America. And I would feel terrible if they got rounded up and sent back to Mexico. They got here illegally, but I mean, I won't go so far as to say they deserve to be here. But if you had people coming to your country, they're exactly the kind of people you would want in your country. They're great folks. They're hard workers. They pay their taxes. They have insurance on their cars. They have a good work ethic. They're honorable people. I did vote for Trump, but believe me, it was not easy voting for Trump. And I believe the only reason Donald Trump got in is because Hillary was the most unlikable person on the entire planet. And I've said it before, I would have chewed my own hand off before I let it pull a lever for Hillary Clinton. I'm not a Democrat. And in all honesty, I don't completely identify with Republicans. Uh, Democrats, when I was a young man, the Democratic Party was a little different than it is now, and I was a Democrat. And now they have gone so far left and support so many things that I am against that I can't support the Democrats. And I don't completely support Republicans. So there's never a candidate that perfectly represents my feelings, my political ideology. So let me continue about immigration. I am 100% against illegal immigration, uncontrolled illegal immigration. And I think we should build a wall. I think our country has an absolute right to control who comes here. I think we have a right to know who comes here and where they come from and their background and their criminal records, if they have one. And if you have a choice, do you want computer programmers or who's it? OMG? Toxic Badlands. I don't know. I don't think I recognize the name. Well, basically, you want to be able to control who comes in your country. You can't. I don't think American can live a life of isolation. I think we have to absorb people from other countries. This is the promised land. And but I just can't wrap my brain around rounding people up that are here and shipping them back to a third world cesspool of a country. I've been to Mexico. I've been there a few times, and if you've ever been there, you will understand why people walk across deserts that can kill them to get here. And I am in favor of the Mexicans that come here and they're part of the drug cartel or they join gangs or they commit crimes. Yeah, round them up, send them back, get them out of here. Those are not the people we want here. But as for rounding up all Mexicans just because they came here in search of a better life, I just can't wrap my brain around it. So that's where I stand on it. And this is America. We all don't have to agree on everything. But I've been thinking a lot about it, and I sure hope we handle this de-immigration or repatriation of Mexican nationals. I sure hope we can use compassion and good sense. And that's the same way I feel about welfare and food stamps. Uh, I have had back pain my entire life. Hey, Wyatt, good to see you, man. Uh, I've had back pain my whole life, and I've never been unemployed in my life. I've worked every day, and it does piss me off to see people skating through life uh, with homes that are paid for, a check every month, and food. They're not. And here's another thing I've learned about being judgmental. I don't really have a topic, so I'm going to skip around. Try and stay with me. As I've gotten older, I've realized that I've become more judgmental. And right out in front of me here, there's four HUD homes. And I used to really have some animosity towards them because they're living for free. And, I'm paying the rent, and you are. But as time has gone by and I've gotten to know them people, I know they're what's put them into the homes they're in. The lady, one of the homes, the lady has had just terrible medical problems her whole life, uncontrollable diabetes, and she just recently had a pancreas and kidney transplant. She can't hold the job. I mean, she can barely stay alive. So, and the lady next to her, same thing, terrible medical problems, single mom, husband left her. You know, I've got to stop myself from being so judgmental and just accept people and their own life that comes with them. I mean, they all have their own reasons for being in HUD homes. And one more example, and I won't. I told them. I told them about my channel, so I don't want to be too specific. But there's some other people who I had known nothing about, just observing from afar, and made judgments about them, and I was completely wrong. Completely, I was ashamed of myself. I was so wrong. They're decent people, and I've really got to stop myself. I guess being cynical is something that comes with getting older. I got to really catch myself and stop being so judgmental and cynical towards people if they're not exactly like me. So, yeah, life is about learning, isn't it? Let me have a look at the chat, see if I've missed anything juicy. Mr. Bones, I sure know my tools. Huh. Oh, Subtac, for sure. The ones that, absolutely. Yeah, and we won't mention the religion, Islam, but yeah, the ones that come here and don't want to be American, absolutely. They want to change America into the crap hole they left. Yeah, I have got no trouble sending them people back. Uh, they come here and want. Yeah, I don't even want to get into that. It makes me mad talking about that. They come to our schools and they demand prayer rooms. And if you mention being a Christian in a school now, it's big trouble. But you mention being a Muslim, and they offer your own special prayer room. I don't get why we're bending over backwards for these people, letting them take driver's license pictures with full burqas. That doesn't make sense. Yeah, what that's another reason I didn't vote for Hillary, because I really believe she was going to get us right into a war with Russia. For some reason, she hates Russia. And Trump, I don't know. I don't want. I want us out of the Middle East, and I want those people to stay there. Yeah, driver's pictures with full of burqas, and they don't make them take their burqa off for their picture. It blows my mind away. And some guy, I believe it was somewhere in Great Britain. What happened? What? Hold on. Oh, Steven, I deleted it, man. Yeah, let's talk about that. Google, wow, what is happening? I've had so many videos demonetized, and they're absolutely not political in nature. I had one video where I said a bad word about Obama, and it demonetized. And it was one of my highest viewed videos. I had 700 or 800,000 views on it. and they demonetized it because right in the very beginning of the video I said something about Obama not being American, which may or may not be true. I mean, I'm entitled to my opinion, but they demonetized it, and I resubmitted it, asked them why they demonetized it, and all they would tell me is that it was not advertiser friendly. So I've unfortunately grown a little dependent on this Google YouTube revenue, the AdSense. It's not much, but in all honesty, it pays for my lawnmower and a couple other small things that I don't have to take out of my other income. And I've grown dependent on it. I never thought I would. I used to just use it to buy stuff to give away on a shop tour. Oh, you don't want to see my shop. It's filthy, man. I'll tell you what, knife making, it's really fun, enjoyable. I really like making knives, but God, what a messy hobby. Huh. Let me look at the chat a minute. Minds.com, huh? Oh, crap. Yeah, thumbs up definitely. And here's a strange phenomenon. I don't really comment that much on other videos, so I don't go anywhere and make enemies. And when I have people leave ugly comments on my videos, I just remove them. I don't argue with them. But man, have I have attracted a rash of thumbs downers, and it definitely affects how high up your video is in the search. Like, you know, when you search something and there'll be all those videos to the right, my right. If you have a lot of thumbs downs, it lowers your video in the feed, and it does affect how many people are likely to see it. So, thumbs up definitely counteracts that. So, I'm getting fewer thumbs up and way more thumbs down. So, I have really said or done something to attract the thumbs downers. I have no idea what. I'm not going to change anything, but it doesn't concern me that much. But it definitely, over time, when you have a lot of thumbs down, it definitely affects how high up the feed your videos are. Need the blue thumbs to get seen. Oh, for sure, yeah. Oh crap! I'll tell you what. Just inhaling deeper. Son of a. Whoa! Sorry. Let me take some water here. All three of my dogs are out here, so if we see a squirrel or something, we're gonna hear barking. So let's see. What else we want to talk about? I was gonna. I really. I'm a little disappointed that I can't find the right place to put my knives for sale. I like making knives, and I did raise my prices significantly because I mean I was barely breaking even with materials, and I know I can't charge what my time. You know, it takes me about 3.5 days to make a knife. I'm talking about all the way to the sheath. Oh, Duff Sweets, let me tell you, fell off a ladder, man. I was cutting a limb down and I fell off the lower portion of the ladder, landed right on my gluteus maximus, and it popped a disc. So, whew. I told you I was on Norco, right? Well, I forgot what I was talking about. Sorry. Oh, my knives. Man, I hope I'm making sense. Yeah, I put a lot of time in these knives, probably more than the experts do, just because I'm still new at it. But I'm getting way better at making knives, and I'm really, really proud of how good they're looking. I hope that doesn't sound like I'm bragging, but I've made a lot of progress, and I got to the point I'm at, which I'm really proud of, very quickly. Only because it's stuff that I've done all my life. You know, all the machines that I'm using to make the knives are machines that I've used my whole life. So it wasn't a huge step to put all these skills together to make knives. And I think if you've watched my channel long and you've seen my knives, I've come a long way from my first 5 or 6 knives to the knives I'm making now. And God, I'm enjoying the heck out of it. And I've had to raise my prices because everything about knife making, everything from the machines you use. Hey, Rain Country, how are you? Uh, to the sandpaper. There's nothing cheap about making knives. So I did raise my prices, and I kind of think I raised my prices beyond what the average person is willing to risk on a knife maker that's not well known. That's kind of my thinking where I'm at right now. I can't charge any less for them. Uh, I don't want to make them and just break even. I want to make a few dollars and uh, justify my time. When I was selling the first knives, I was selling them at a price that covered most of my expenses of making them, and I wasn't charged for the time it took. So I tried Etsy, and Etsy is not set up for knife making. There's no place. Etsy is more for crafts, and it's more for crafts. So I really didn't expect much out of Etsy, and okay, I did try eBay. I tried eBay the first time I put it on there with a set price, and I got maybe 20 people look at it. That I had two knives on there. So after 7 days went by, I redid it and I put lower prices on there, and I let it go to auction, and I had a lot more people looking at them, but no bids. So I'm kind of disappointed. I don't know where to go to sell them. My friend Dwayne sells. He goes to the gun shows all the time, and I thought maybe I could make up 8 or 9 and go to the gun show with him, but you know, I just can't get that far ahead of myself. I have enough to make about 8 more knives, and I don't want to make them if I can't sell them. That's the thing. Right now, I have 2 knives sitting on my desk that I took off of eBay just because I don't want to constantly watch it. So 14 days, I had them for sale on eBay for 14 days, and about 21 days on Etsy, and no bites, no questions, no takers, no bids. So that's where I'm at with the knife making. It's enjoyable, and now I know how to make them, and I'm proud of where I am right now with them. So maybe I'll just make one and give it away now and then, just until I find the a venue where there are people that like custom knives and are willing to take a chance on a knife maker without a well known name. Let's see. Tools. I've been a DeWalt guy for many, many years. Hey, I'm your Huckleberry. How are you, brother? I'm your Huckleberry. Lives over there not far from where I do. Oh, thanks, Zeph. Appreciate it. Angela, thank you for the offer. I may take you up on that. I got your phone, your number. We'll talk, okay? I was gonna let my Dwayne has a gun show this coming weekend, and I was gonna let him take these two with him and see if he can sell them. And if he doesn't, I'll give you a call and we'll talk. Cause I don't know the eBay thing. I know you really got to know what you're doing on eBay. It's pretty confusing. So, Facebook confuses me, so I'm easily confused, especially with the technical stuff. So that's where I'm at with the knives. And if I don't sell them, I'll just give them away as subscriber gifts. Is your truck vegan? What does that mean? Yeah, I even owed Etsy 40 cents. I have no idea why. Yeah, nothing is close enough for me to read without my glasses, and everything's a little too far away for me to read them easy. This is the limit for the Walmart cheapo. This is 3.5 power, and that's as high as they go. You know what? I never did, man. I'm sorry about that. I never did ask about the costs. Uh, I don't remember why. I think that was about the time that my wife was going in for surgery and things got kind of hectic. You want free knives? Just kidding, man. Huh. Well, now I'm at the time of the year where I have to really use the sunshine and the warmth. That's another thing. My wife and I, we're gonna have to really give some consideration to selling this place, to buying something smaller and easier to take care of, because obviously my back is not going to get better. It's going to get worse as I get older. Plus, I'm a fat guy, so that's my property. But so that's something too. My weight, home shopping. Well, selling my knives. I knew that eventually I would run out of the people on my channel that wanted a knife, and I expected that because out of so many people, there's hey, AZ Patriot, how are you? Too late, I won. Glad you got back in your house, man. So anyway, enough about knives. Oh crap, boy, it don't take much moving. AZ Patriot, how you feeling, man? I hope you're feeling better. Man, I'll tell you what, y'all, Arizona Patriot, y'all need to go to his channel and his about page. He has had some medical trouble too. I tell you, boy, I'll tell you what, getting old sucks, and he's not even old. Herdman folding knives. Wow, I've watched some of the channels where they are making folding knives, and that's way beyond my pay grade right now. I've thought about it, but yeah, I that's not something I'm going to be able to do for a while. I don't even have the kind of machinery that I could do that on. Well, how old are you, AZ Patriot? I'm curious. Hey, David Griffin, good to see you. That icon looks like my twin. So, talked about immigration. Talked about me falling on my gluteus maximus. Talked about knives. What else can we talk about? Marijuana laws. I like pot. And now I'm at the age where I don't want to smoke pot and get all messed up and get high and listen to Pink Floyd. Those days are beyond me. But if it was legal, the way my back hurts right now, I would definitely smoke a joint or a half a joint or just enough to make the pain go away. I am absolutely for the legalization of medicinal marijuana. Maybe not so much recreational marijuana, but actually I am. What I am is for the government to get out of our lives and leave us the hell alone. And if a person wants to smoke a joint in the privacy of their own home, how does it affect me? Uh, I actually think far less of alcohol than I do of pot. So I'll be visiting you there, Dove Sweets. Yeah, and here in Louisiana, the marijuana laws are confiscation. They'll confiscate your vehicle. Oh, that's another thing. What do they call it? Asset forfeiture. What a load of crap asset forfeiture is. Pull a guy over and he's got a bag of weed in his car, and you take his car. All you got to do to take his car is say that he intended to sell it. What crap is that? There is some precinct, I just heard it on the news, that had like seven or eight thousand $100,000 of surplus money from asset forfeiture. Well, let me ask you, Dove Sweet, since we're talking about this, do you smoke it For medicinal reasons, or for recreational reasons, or for both? I'm curious. Uh, and I got to be honest. When I was a kid and a young man, I did like the way pot made me feel. And towards the end of my days of smoking pot, I had learned to not smoke everything I had, and just take a hit or two, get a nice little glow on, and go about my day. Uh, and if I were to smoke pot now, that's how I would use it. Yep, that's what happens. Oh, Jesus, God Almighty, just turned to my freaking head. Boy, well, I haven't cussed yet so far. Oh, I don't know how I'm going to sleep. Let me tell you, just getting up to go pee is, yeah, I could teach you some, some cuss words. Well, I don't know if we're ever going to see a change. There's so much money to be made in the criminal portion. Hello from Canada. Hey, how are you? I'm going to read that when it comes up, the sweets. Okay. we, I haven't cussed yet, so, or maybe I have. I don't think I have. Oh, hey, Skull 22. Man, you have been a subscriber for a very, very long time, and I want to thank you. You've been one of my earliest subscribers, and just want to say thanks. It's like a family. That's what this is. Y'all are like my friends and family. So let me just say thanks to everybody. 60 people, my goodness. And 57 thumbs up. Far out. Yeah, you know, as a truck driver, I had lots and lots of time to sit and think about things. And the penal system. Hello, Alan. How are you? There is so many people's livelihoods that rely on other people going to jail. I don't cop bash. Cops enforce the law. If we don't like the laws, fire our politicians. You know what I mean? I can't say my encounters with the police have always been good. Hey, Ann, good to see you. Pictures are your friend. Well, since I live in the sticks, the door is like right behind you, about 3 feet, 4 feet away. So when I do get up, hey, Bob the metal guy, my buddy. Uh, yeah, there's so many people that are in prison for minor little crimes. I heard some statistics the other day that are just shocking. The percentage of our society that is in prisons is like no other country on this planet has the amount of people in jail that we have. Uh, misdemeanors, people committing misdemeanors going to jail. I just here's just a simple thought. There's no way a guy who smoked a joint or had a bag of weed should be in the same jail as a guy who raped a woman. There's just no way. There's just something. Am I the only one that can see the wrong in that? A victimless crime. It shouldn't even be a crime. Uh, the person who commits a victimless crime put in the same jail as a guy who commits rape. And now they've got privately owned prisons. And the only way they can make money is to fill them up. Yeah, I'm not unhappy with my country, but I sure am unhappy with some of the injustices. And just about all the injustices are perpetrated by our own government. You know, Trump's not the perfect guy. Hillary wasn't the perfect candidate. Far from it. That's being polite. And you vote somebody in thinking they might make a change, and they make things worse. Or they change it in to another degree. Instead of being far left, they go far right. There's no middle of the road. There's no common sense. There's no kindness and compassion and governing. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, government is too big for sure. And that's another thing. Government, it's like this beast that has to tax you and fine you and find new laws to make for you to abide or break because they need tax money. I mean, it's like this. It's a vicious circle, is what it is. They create laws hoping people will break them so they can fine you to keep themselves in business to make more laws. I mean, it's just like the old, what they used to say about cocaine. Cocaine. You snort cocaine so you can work longer and harder to make more money to buy more cocaine. And that's what the government has become. Oh, for sure, David Griffin. I've been I have one story that I'm going to tell you about Border Patrol. And normally I'm a mild mannered, easygoing. I'm polite to cops, especially I've never only an idiot gets out with an attitude with a cop because you're not going to win on the side of the road. So I'm always polite and I'm always respectful. It may not change the outcome, but it makes it go smoother and it gets it over quicker. Well, anyway, Sierra Blanca, east of El Paso, 50, 60 miles from the border. Maybe not quite that far, but it's a border patrol checkpoint in Texas. So my wife and I go through that border check. Not now. We're not truck drivers anymore. But for 11 years, we went through that checkpoint 4 days a week. And one time, their dog hit. They say our dog hit on you. We need to pull you to the side. I guess the dog sniffed drugs or something. I didn't see the dog react. So I pull over and everything's going smooth. It's just part of the big game, and I'm gonna be polite and play the game. Well, they come right over to the truck, and my wife is in bed sleeping. It's nighttime. I drive the night shift. She drove the day shift. So they come over and I open my door, and they tell me to get out of the truck, and I said, okay, just 1 second. I got to wake my wife up. She's got to get her clothes on and get her glasses. Give me 2 seconds. We'll be out of here. You can get in the truck and do whatever you got to do. And they're okay with that. I tell my wife to get up and get dressed. She wants to know why. I tell her what Border Patrol has pulled us over and they want to get up in the truck and run their dog through in our truck, in our cab, to make sure we don't have drugs. So she's getting up, getting dressed, and everything's going cool. The Border Patrol guys are all being cool until this one bonehead, that's the name I'm going to use, anal orifice. This one Border Patrol cop comes over and he tells me to get out of my truck. And I've already told these other people, I'm getting out of my truck, just give me 2 seconds. So I tell him, just give me a second. My wife's getting dressed. We'll be out of here in 2 seconds. And I'm not going to get out and let them in until my wife gets dressed. That's reasonable. And this one cop, yells at me to get out of the effing truck now. And I said, hold on, dude. My wife is getting dressed. Just give me a second. I mean, she's almost dressed. He reaches over and he grabs my leg. At that time, I weighed 363 pounds. Shh, I don't weigh that anymore. I weigh 300. So he's going to pull this huge lump of truck driver out of his truck with a seatbelt on. I still got my seatbelt on. This guy's yanking on my leg, yelling at me, calling me names, trying to pull me out of my truck. And so now it turns from calm, reasonable, and polite to all of a sudden it's gone from 1 to a 10. Okay, I am a polite, reasonable guy, but if you put your hands on me and you piss me off, which he did, it's not going to end well for anybody. And since it was cops, it wasn't going to end well for me. I got down out of the truck and it's on. I There's like a dozen of these cops now, and I wanted to whoop every damn one of them. And as mad as I was that this guy did that to me for no reason, I was ready to take the tasing and the butt whooping. Fortunately, it didn't quite go that far. The funny thing is, while I'm standing on the ground calling them names and begging them to come take me down, I got this little frou frou mini schnauzer in my hand with her little frou frou haircut because I didn't have a collar or a leash because Sunny, that's the dog, uh, she didn't need a collar and a leash. She would come when you called her and stay where you put her. So on the way out, I grabbed the dog when I got out of the truck. So I'm yelling at these guys with this little frou frou dog in my hand, and I had to look funny, telling them how bad I was going to beat them all up, and coming from a guy from me with no dog, it might have been a concern, but coming from a guy my size with this little frou frou dog in his hand, that had to look funny. And so my wife is out of the truck now, and she comes over, and I think she's coming over to help. That's going to be two of us yelling. Nope, she comes over there and grabs the dog out of my hand because she knew I was going to get tased and fall on the dog. Okay, it didn't quite go that far. They didn't tase me, but it got very close. And I still think about that. That all it takes is one cop, to make all of them go nuts. And that's exactly what happened. Everybody was calm and polite, routine, standard operation, let the dog in. I was cooperating and being polite until that one cop came up, and then all the rest of them turned into the same kind of lunatic that he was. So that's my I almost got tased and went to jail story. Border Patrol, 50 miles in the middle of Texas, pulling over Americans, and that used to piss me off. They would stop you and ask you if you were American. And 4 nights a week, you'd think they would recognize me. And it's the same answer: yes, I'm American. Where are you coming from? Los Angeles. What are you hauling? I have no idea. I picked up a sealed trailer. I drop a sealed trailer. I never get to see what's inside. And they let you go. And I got no problem with that. That wasn't the deal. The deal was they were 50 miles in from the border. Why would you not put that kind of manpower down on the border? And they had, a $500,000 worth of vehicles there parked at that border patrol station. For what? Stopping Americans. That used to just drive me nuts. I'm going to check the comments here, see if I missed anything. Oh yeah, Chevy guy. I've met good cops too. I've met way more decent cops than bad cops. So yeah, and I've got pulled over in the trucking business. Getting pulled over. Salty Shellback. Hey man, Frank. Good to see you. Over the years, I started driving a truck. Well, in '77 when I joined the army, that's what I did. I drove a truck. But when I got out of the army in '80, I bumped around. I bought a motorcycle, grew my hair long, traveled around, partied and partied and partied and partied. Did I mention party? And then I decided I wanted to drive a truck. So you couldn't smoke pot and be a truck driver because there was piss tests. Ambiguity, hello there. So altogether, I've probably got about 35 years behind the wheel, maybe 36. And I've gotten pulled over by a lot of cops. Light out, uh, standard procedure. You're just number 7 that day, and they have to inspect every seventh truck. And in all honesty, for the most part, cops were decent. But I have some incredibly scary stories about dishonest, thug, lying, robbing, thieving cops, mafia type cops. I'll tell you one of them, and was in New Jersey, and I was a very new driver. Hey, okay, Dina, you're don't tase me, bro. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, take care, Arizona Patriot. Good to see you. Well, I was a fairly new driver, and I was going through New Jersey, and this was back in the early '80s, and everybody had a CB back then, and it was always on Channel 19. So I knew about this DOT check that was coming up. So I pulled over, And I adjusted all my brakes because that was the very first thing they would go after is brake adjustment. That was the easiest, quickest ticket to get you to get into your wallet and get you out of there so they could pull the next truck in. So I pulled over, I adjusted my brakes, got back in my truck, went down the road another 20 miles and pulled into the DOT checkpoint. They pulled me over. They do the air brake test and look at my logbook, and they crawl under my truck to check my brakes, my brake adjustment. And I know I just adjusted them, so I know they're perfectly adjusted. The cop comes out from underneath my truck, and as he's getting up off the ground, pushing himself up off the ground, a wrench, which just happens to be 9/16, which just happens to be the size that it takes to adjust trailer brakes. He comes up from underneath my truck and he says, "Your brakes are out of adjustment." And I said, "Well, they are now, but they weren't when I pulled in here." So, yeah, I got a couple of tickets out of that. That was one crooked lion cop, and I've come across a few of them. And it's scary thinking that they are amongst the good cops, and the good cops don't do nothing about it. And I've always said, you're not a good cop if you let the bad cops get away with being a bad cop. That's just like being a good truck driver. If you see a truck driver running down the road, running people off, tailgating, and you don't call his company and let them know they got a lawsuit waiting, a potential lawsuit, you're a bad truck driver. And it ain't ratting out, it's protecting other people. And it's protecting your profession. That's the way I feel about bad cops. You're only a bad cop because the good cops let you get away with it. But in all honesty, I've met way more good cops than bad cops, so that's something. I don't know if they can say that in other countries. I don't know if Mexico. Pretty much every cop is on the take down there, and that's another thing. In the early days, '80s, most of the '80s, if you paid a ticket in cash, it was not going on your record. Well, how long have we been going? I can't see. Let's see. 57 minutes? Yeah, Ann Bear, huh? Well, more stories, huh? Wow. I'll tell you what, I've got a tornado story. I'll tell you this tornado story and then we'll hang it up because it'll be about an hour. That's enough to keep, that's long enough to keep you tied up. uh, this was in Texas. Texas is a huge state, especially when you're driving east to west, like from Shreveport. We would go to Dallas to get loaded and then to LA. So you're driving 600, 700. What is it? From Shreveport? Well, from Shreveport to El Paso, it's better than 900 miles. Maybe not quite that far. Anyway, it's an all day and part of the night trip. So I was driving. My wife was up. It was a hell of a storm. Hell of a storm. And we left Dallas and we got to Sweetwater, Texas. And I decided, oh, I was behind. I had a JB Hunt truck in front of me. I had a Schneider truck behind me. Oh, Jesus, God Almighty. And I was in between them. So I get off the Sweetwater exit to go to the TA truck stop and get a cup of coffee. It had been a long, hard drive, and the wind was blowing like crazy. I mean, so hard that you had to steer like a half a turn of the steering wheel into the wind to keep your truck on the road. I get off, I go in the truck stop, I get a cup of coffee, use the facilities, walk the dog, and I get back on the highway, and right there, right past the on ramp, the Sweetwater on ramp, there's that Schneider truck and the JB Hunt truck blown over on their sides. And I was right in the middle of them. That would have been me. That was the hand of God saving me. And I've got a few stories like that, the hand of God protecting me. You know, my wife and I, just with one company, put 3 million miles on. That was in 11 years. That was with one company. We did some trailer trucking, let me tell you. And before I taught my wife how to drive, I had 1,000,000 miles on just myself. We put 1,000,000 miles on one truck, 1,200,000 on one truck. Bought it new, put 1.2 million miles on it, and sold it. And on all those miles, winter, wind, rain, ice, snow, never had a wreck. Had only a couple of close calls. Never had a wreck. Only had a couple of speeding tickets, and most of those were going downhill. My wife, I think she had one speeding ticket, and that was, you won't believe it, going 56 and a 55 on the loop around Little Rock. Well, that kind of cop would write a 1 mile an hour ticket. That was her one and only ticket in her entire life. Never had a logbook violation. I always had the safest equipment. Even when I drove for companies, if it wasn't safe, I wouldn't drive it or I wouldn't leave with it until something was fixed. And I was a good enough mechanic that I could fix stuff on the road myself. So that was my tornado story, and that was my hand to God saving me story. I think we're going to call it a day. I want to say thank you to everyone for showing up. It was enjoyable. Uh, I I don't say thank you enough. I appreciate everyone who subscribes to me. I appreciate your time. Your time is just as valuable as mine, and the time that you give my channel is it doesn't go without appreciation. So let me just say that. All right, I'm gonna hang it up here. We'll do this again sometime. I'll think of some really good trucking stories to tell you, and enjoyed it. Thanks for showing up, everybody. And if I come up with something interesting or a video I can shoot from my chair, I'll do it. We'll see y'all later. Thanks again.